Hello, thanks for joining us. This is Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguele. Before we begin, let's remind you that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, NTA.ng/live. On YouTube, you'll find us NTA News Online. Our Twitter handle is at NTA News Now. You can also visit our Facebook page. It's NTA Network News. On Instagram, you'll find us NTA Network. Coastal member states of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, are finalizing a memorandum of understanding for a regional strategy on maritime security at an engagement in Abuja facilitated by the ECOWAS Commission and the European Union. Impediments to the actualization of the regional objectives were analyzed. Kelvin Ehunwahe reports.
The Gulf of Guinea is an important shipping zone for the transport of goods to and from Europe and Asia, for international fishing, and most importantly for oil and gas. In the last 15 years, the region has also become one of the world's hotspots for maritime piracy and kidnapping. The economic losses from these criminalities to the coastal states of the sub-region is put at over $700 million annually by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. To combat these criminalities, ECOWAS launched its integrated maritime strategy in 2014. Since then, not much has been achieved. Now, the European Union has stepped in, bringing the 12 coastal states together and work towards a final document to be presented to the various governments by the end of the year.
To make sure that there is a regular presence of naval ships from the European Union member states in the Gulf of Guinea.
Start the discussion and also get an agreement for the sharing of these reefs, and also try to develop the modalities of the training in the material and the way to capacitate the member states in order to be able to use them appropriately.
Each of the 12 coastal member states will receive 2 rigid hull inflammable boats with modern equipment with technical training by the Portuguese Camus Institute.
For Navy and Coast Guard to enjoy the benefit that this equipment will deliver, a passage has to be cleared through the port. The ECOWAS Commission has already written to each government to request the waiver of import duty. And this should not be a problem as long as the procedures are followed and the relevant partners.
Representatives of the various countries are to reconvene in Abuja later in the year with the hope that a clearer path to tackling insecurity in the Gulf of Guinea would have emerged by then towards enhancing the blue economy of the sub-region. In Abuja, Kelvin Ehunwahe, NTA News.
More efficient operations expected from personnel of the Nigerian Army as the 2022 simulation training takes off in Abuja. The Defense correspondent Ismail Musa was part of the exercise and now reports.
It is a periodic ritual for the Nigerian Army, keeping its personnel mentally and emotionally sound for sound operations. And the platform in achieving this is through simulation training to protect the nation's territorial integrity.
The envisaged constructive outcomes from this workshop will contribute immensely to professionalism and readiness that are inclusive as cardinal pillars of the Chief of Army Staff's vision, which is to have a professional Nigerian Army ready to accomplish assigned missions within a joint environment in defense of Nigeria.
To strengthen the exercise, the Land Forces Simulation Center was established in 2019, a fundamental aspect of modern military operational planning.
Simulation, as we know, has become a veritable tool for armed forces worldwide to develop tactical, strategical, and doctrinal solutions, as well as offer users unique training experiences while saving both time and resources.
The center provides avenue to test technologies to boost troops' capacity to cope with emerging challenges. The training is focusing on using simulation technology in addressing contemporary security challenges in Nigeria. From the Land Forces Simulation Center in Giri, Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Today is actually World Awareness Mine Day, and it was declared in 2005 by the United Nations General Assembly, to observe that the International Day for Mine Awareness and Assistance in Mine Action should be taken very seriously. It called for continued efforts by states with the assistance of the United Nations and relevant organizations to foster the establishment and development of national mine action capacities in countries where mines and explosive remnants of war constitute a serious threat to the safety, health and lives of the civilian population. The UN aims for a world free of landmines and explosive remnants of war, where individuals and communities live in a safe environment conducive to development and where the needs of victims are met. So the theme for this year's 2022 Mine Awareness Day is Safe Ground, Safe Steps, Safe Home. Well, Nigeria as a country, we're confronted with security challenges. Creating such awareness is imperative. We have the Director General, Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja, Major General Garba Wahab. He joins me now via Zoom. Thank you very much for joining us on the news.
Thank you very much.
All right, now this is a very important day celebrated all over the world to create safe ground, safe steps and safe home. Now, Nigeria should not be left out on an important issue like this. What's the situation for Nigeria?
Thank you very much. And as far as I know, the Nigerian Army does not use mines. Well, we have remnants from the Civil War. And people need to be educated, need to be aware. It is part of the security awareness program we should be undertaking, so that people know that not only mines, but remnants of bombs will cause disaster to the environment and to individuals. And because of that, we need to take it seriously, particularly in the Southeast. It is also necessary for us to understand that improvised explosive devices being used by terrorists, insurgents, will also constitute part of what we are facing. So a lot of security awareness, a lot of security education is required for Nigerians to understand what we're talking about, and for them not to take it lightly, because each could be the difference between being alive and being dead.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned the Northeast, which is where we know terrorist attack is very prominent. And if we want to look at post-conflict situation there, you talked about awareness. What kind of risk education is happening down there? Because communities need to enjoy safe ground, safe steps, and safe home, of course.
Well, a lot of activities need to take place, not only by the military side, but even Ministry of Information, for instance. Thank God National Orientation Agency is doing so much. They need to look into this and take it as part of what they need to do. Maybe in form of jingles, in mosques, in churches, in schools. We need to tell people, look, when you see ordinary wires on the ground, don't just go around and start picking things. It might be dangerous to your health. So a lot of ideas, a lot of activities need to be done, but particularly from homes, schools, marketplaces, and through jingles, so that people are aware that a lot of these items are there and they could be dangerous to them and to the community.
But this kind of training, of course, involves the Nigerian Armed Forces directly. I remember last year, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, engaged some communities in the Northeast on mine awareness training, to ensure that communities like that are free from such risk. Is there any collaboration happening?
Well, so much is happening. Not only Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, even the police. Police have a bomb disposal units that once in a while go around. So, but much more still need to be done for people to be aware. Don't see a wire in the Northeast and think you are picking something that you can sell. It could explode in your face. So these are some of the things that need to be done. Yes, periodically, those type of workshop activities, but we need to take it beyond just coming together in a group, teaching people, but take it to the marketplaces, take it to large gatherings where people will know that their life will be in danger. They need to be aware, not just waiting until we have a seminar or workshop to run through that. It's a continuous thing. It should be done on a regular basis.
As we round off this conversation, we just want to be clear for some Nigerians who may not be aware. Have we experienced such a situation in Nigeria before?
Well, immediately after the Civil War, even about 4 or 5 years back, and don't forget that even within the army barracks in Ikeja and Kaduna, there are some explosions, and it's part of what we're talking about. A bomb could explode not because it's been detonated, but because something happens or the heat around that general area becomes unbearable and the thing goes off. So a lot of such things that happened in the past, and so we need to have that at the back of our mind. It doesn't mean it is only where there are crises. Even in quiet places, it is possible for us to have explosions taking place, particularly where people are hoarding or taking what does not belong to them, where civilians are going around purchasing bombs, explosives, even for quarries. We need to want to let people know that where people blast rocks, they use bombs. So these are things we need to educate ourselves on, not just only where there are crises.
All right, what's your final word for Nigerians, especially those in the Northeast who are faced directly and will definitely return to their communities? We see people already returning to their communities.
Well, we need to keep on believing in ourselves, trusting in ourselves, and listening to whatever security advices or tips being given to them, because periodically this is done through leaflets, through jingles. They should not discontinue such things, and where there are workshops and seminars for those who are supposed to attend, they should please attend and pass the messages. It is not for you to attend a workshop and seminar. It is for you to be able to pass the messages to others so that they are aware, and that improves the security of the people and the government.
Thank you very much, Director General. Thank you for your time on the news.
Thank you very much.
All right, we've been looking at the World Mine Awareness Day, but we're heading to Lagos now to join Michael. Let's find out what's happening from his end.
Thank you, Ruth. Creating an enabling environment for youth to unleash their potential with a view to curbing idleness is a sure way to check in security and ensure economic development is actualized. This was the summation of Islamic scholars at this year's Ramadan lecture organized by NTA Lagos Channel 10. Musa Toliat reports.
Scholars at the lecture say Ramadan offers a veritable platform for spiritual awakening and to admonish political office holders on ways of curbing insecurity through youth empowerment and development. They believe that good neighborliness preached by Islam can also go a long way to ensuring sustainable peace across the country.
Those of us who are privileged should show kindness to the less privileged. As well, we do that. Nigeria will be a better place. There will be less crime.
Every youth should also have something doing, have something positive doing. That way, if it is not paying now, somehow, somewhere, it is going to pay. It is better than you engaging in all wrongs to make something right.
The gathering lends support for religious tolerance and peaceful coexistence, which has been a core message of the Nigerian Television Authority.
God is the maker of the world. So if we do what God says, what else again? There will be peace, there will be joy. So I need to support it, because this is one of the primary principles of NTA.
His message is for us to help each other, to feed those ones that don't have what to eat, to also be tolerant.
It's for our people to take full benefit of this holy month of Ramadan, to do all the needful.
We want people to believe that during the time of Ramadan, we need to assist people. We need to feed people. We need to encourage other people who are very rich to do good to who are less privileged.
In the spirit of giving and delighting the downtrodden in the month of Ramadan, 6 indigent residents were given various empowerment equipment to turn their fortunes around. There were side attractions in accordance with Islamic dictates and injunctions. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Although Lagos State is leading a vanguard of increasing the functionality of primary health care centers, key players in the health sector are advocating that the professional competency of personnel at these facilities should be prioritized. Taking qualitative and affordable healthcare services to the doorstep of the people inspired the establishment of the primary healthcare system in Nigeria. Out of the 30,000 basic and comprehensive health care facilities spread across these 774 local government areas in Nigeria, Metropolitan Lagos can only rapidly growing population of more than 20 million people. Although this negates the goal of accessibility, but there are more contending issues revolving around the effective functionality of these facilities.
The recommended ratio of doctor to patient, as recommended by World Health Organization, the organization is 1 doctor to 600 patients. Beyond equipment, beyond the facilities, manpower is very important.
Sunday is a coupler in one of the traffic reading locations in Lagos. He can only receive emergency treatment within his environment, but his first visit to a primary health care center about 4 years ago happens to be his last.
The environment is not looking good then. We have to refer to go to pharmacy. They don't have much drugs here to take care of the patients.
Interventions like the National Basic Healthcare Provision Fund and periodic evaluation measures instituted by the federal and state governments have improved performance index at least by 20%. This figure is an indication that there is a consistent initiative to revitalize the primary health care delivery system across the country.
So we still need more doctors, we still need more healthcare workers. So the waiting time is reduced now. People now, also other facilities are also being, we have flagship PHCs that run 24 hours with the doctors and staff complement all available.
A good instance is at Lagos Island local government, where a state of emergency has been declared in the primary healthcare sector with the sole aim of revitalizing the system for greater efficiency.
All our primary health centers would be running 24 hours with full capacity and all the equipment guaranteed.
The starting point to boost performance of the health sector, experts say, is to institutionalize a robust management system that can effectively cater for the wellness of the citizens through service delivery of the primary healthcare centers in the country. Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on YouTube at NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page at NTA Network News, Twitter handle at NTA News Online, and on Instagram at NTA Network for updates. Let's join Ogochukwuka in Benin after this break. Please stay.
Thank you for staying tuned. 10 trucks containing 45,000 liters of products suspected to be diesel have been confiscated by the Special Intelligence Squad of the Commandant General, NSCDC, Dr. Ahmed Abubakar Audi. The discovery was made at an uncovered illegal oil depot in Aho village along the Benin-Lagos highway. The illegal oil depot specializes in diesel adulteration. Goodluck Enaini reports that the special squad equally made a seizure of products in drums in large polythene bags and arrested some of the suspects.
The officers of the squad who acted on an intelligence report stormed the area only to discover various points where the illegal conduct is perpetrated. The petroleum products suspected to be diesel were discovered in large quantity in drums and surface tanks locked up in shanties ready to undergo the process of adulteration. The ones that are ready were usually transferred into trucks with the aid of pumping machines. NTA News, however, gathered that some security agents who were alleged to have provided cover for the suspect disappeared on citing members of the squad. Over 15 trucks loaded with the products were impounded, while some of the suspects have been arrested. The public relations officer, NSCDC Edo State Command, Efusa Ubebo, who accompanied the officers on the exercise, described the activities here as a huge economic sabotage that must not be allowed to continue.
Nigeria has zero tolerance for corruption, and I want to use this medium to warn economic saboteurs that there will be no hiding place for them. This adulterated diesel spoils vehicle, destroys so many things, and these economic saboteurs, they are not helping the nation.
Those arrested in the course of the exercise and their collaborators will be charged to court after investigations are concluded. In Benin, Goodluck Inaini, NTA News.
And now, prices of food items and other consumables are far from stabilizing in markets. Eugene Andubisi, who visited markets in Benin Metropolis, reports that traders attribute the situation to hike in prices of petroleum products in the country.
In the last few months, prices of foodstuff and other items have continued to increase without any reduction in sight soon. This is evident in various markets visited in Benin and its environs. For example, a rubber of groundnut oil, which sold at 8,500 2 months ago, now sells at 20,000 naira. The traders who described the current hike in petroleum products as affecting market prices and having negative impact on their businesses also lament the low patronage this has cost them.
They say diesel is 700 per liter, and fuel is 230, 250. The thing too there, now make the price of things they much this thing.
This is not the let person buy for market. You buy today, tomorrow they go put money. For they do you.
So now the oats they are so expensive. Even the chemical that they use in the farm, they will also complain that it's very expensive. You understand? And again, most of all they have abandoned their farm.
The expectations of these Nigerians is for an improved standard of living. One way to achieve this, they believe, is availability of petroleum products such as fuel and diesel to ease cost of transportation of food items from one place to another. In Benin, Eugenia Ndubisi, NTA News.
The news continues in Abuja with Ruth. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Ogochikoka. We hear that works on various highways and bridges have continued, with many on the verge of completion. The Minister of State Works and Housing, Mwazu Sambu Jaji, said this while leading members of the African road builders on inspection of Abuja Kefi Akwanga Makurdi Highway. Abdullahi Mohammed reports.
Abuja Kefi Akwanga Makurdi Highway, another gateway to the different part of the country. 6 lanes out of the Federal Capital Territory is solution to the gridlock in bottlenecks from Nyanya, Maraba to Masaka. More than 300 kilometers being dualized, with men and machines pushing their limits to meet completion deadline. Some of the second lane bridges completed, with the red carpets on one of them to welcome the Minister of State Works and Housing, who led the members of the African Road Builders Committee.
By the time this project is completed, travel time will be drastically reduced, perhaps by as much as 2 hours. And time, is money.
The members of the committee were amazed with the progress Nigeria has made to keep the dreams of the Trans-African highways alive.
Africa is now on the rise, and the Nigeria is providing the much-needed leadership.
The Abuja Kefi Akwanga Makurdi Highway is expected to be completed next year. In Abuja, Abdullahi Mohammed, NTA News.
Respite will soon come the way of motorists plying the Lambata-Lapai-Bida road following the approval and subsequent award of contract for the reconstruction of the road by President Muhammadu Buhari. In response to this development, a community-based association, Grassroots Transformation, in conjunction with the National Youth Council of Nigeria, are appreciative of the present administration's sense of commitment to infrastructural development. Fatima Usman reports.
The federal government's Lambata-Lapai-Bida road is now about the major functional link for the transportation of goods and services from north to the southern part of the country, following the closure of Minakate-Eregi-Bida road to articulated vehicles. The roads, which now serve as alternative, now constitute a major nightmare to motorists due to its deplorable condition. This prompted Muhammadu Buhari-led administration to approve and award the reconstruction of Lambata-Lapai-Bida road, in addition to that of Baro-Mina rail line. It is in appreciation of this gesture that the Community Association for Grassroots Transformation and the National Youth Council of Nigeria Zone A converged in a rally to say thank you to Mr. President and other relevant authorities whose efforts led to the gracious contract award.
It's a critical project that are important in the life of our people. In fact, they have the foundations of wealth creation, employment, and the empowerment. And Buhari has given us that hope by awarding this contract. So we are here to appreciate Mr. President.
As a youth, we are also looking forward to the contractor to live up to their social corporate responsibility.
The road project, when completed, will boost trade and commercial activities that will lead to massive rural wealth creation, not only within the zone and the state, but for the overall economic emancipation of the country. In Mina, Fatima Usman, NTA News.
We'll take a trip to Maiduguri now to join Mohammed, who will bring us the next set of reports.
Thank you, Ruth, and welcome to Maiduguri on Nationwide. In recognition of their selfless service to the nation and commitment in the fight against terrorism, Theater Commander Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai Major General Christopher Musa has honored officers, men and those wounded in action with Operation Lafia Dole and Turatake Bongo medals. Maimuna Garba reports.
As soon as I'm okay, I'm going back to the battlefield. That's what we have signed for.
I feel at least a sense of belonging in the system that at least with this kind of situation, condition, senior men of various of calibers for various services, they can come and check on us there and present MEDA of the operation that I did with this some years ago. At least it's a good development, honestly.
These were the words of some personnel wounded in action appreciating the honor done them, while commending other medal recipients for their resilience in the fight against insurgency. The theater commander Operation Hadinkai, Major General Christopher Musa, said the medal parade marks another milestone achievement in the theater, urging them to wear it always with pride as a reminder of their outstanding performances. General Musa said concerted efforts among sister services, other agencies, media and the public will enable them succeed and deliver on the mandate of the president, considering the tremendous support given them in routing the insurgents.
Most of these ones that you see are people that were here for Lafia Dole, for Turatake Bongo. Those are operations that were concluded. Now, any operation that is between 3 months and 6 months, you take it. So the one for Hadinkai is still being processed at the right time. Once they issue from Army Headquarters, they are going to be issued.
The theater commander called on yet to surrender insurgents to lay down their arms and embrace amnesty as the door is still open for them, pointing out that the surrendered ones are enjoying government's rehabilitation and reintegration program. He reminded troops of the command that the war is not yet over, hence the need to continue with the onslaught to restore lasting peace to the zone. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
In the meantime, Borno State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, has clamped down on vandals of government properties in the state. Pauline Vanna reports that 12 suspects were paraded for the alleged crimes committed.
9 out of the 12 suspects paraded were vandalizers of government properties, to include railway assets and high-tension electric cables perpetrated in different locations. The other 3 suspects were arrested with 38 jerrycans of fuel, who admitted to have committed the offense out of ignorance of the law.
Wani mutum ne ya samu sun yanka ɗaya mun kai masa ya ba mu kuɗi again kuma mun kara yanka ɗaya an kama mu.
Borno State Commandant NSCDC Musa Farouk Boyi also disclosed more exhibits apprehended and will be handed over to government.
May I sound warning to all the criminal elements involved in vandalism of government assets and infrastructure that we will pursue them until the end is put off. We will not tolerate the continuous vandalism of our governmental assets, particularly in Borno State, that has been devastated over time as a result of insurgency.
According to him, investigation is ongoing to unravel the masterminds of the criminal acts and thereafter treat the suspect within the framework of justice. In Maiduguri, Pauline Vanna, NTA News.
Those are the stories from Maiduguri. Time for another commercial break before Nationwide returns to Abuja. Good evening.
Welcome back. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says the coming on stream of the Dangote fertilizer plant and the petrochemical refinery plant will boost energy and food sufficiency in the country. The minister stated this when he took a tour of the fertilizer plant and the ongoing building of the refinery in Lagos State. Anthony Forson will tell us more about it.
The minister was received on arrival by the Group Executive Director Dangote Industries Limited, Devakumar Edwin. First port of call is the Dangote Jetty, a port and a constructed roll-in and roll-out quay. At the loading point, the minister experienced firsthand how vessels are loaded, as is the case here, where fertilizer is being loaded into this vessel. But with the capacity of this ship, where is the fertilizer coming from? Save your breath. It is from Dangote Fertilizer Plant, Africa's largest granulated urea fertilizer plant, which was commissioned recently by President Muhammadu Buhari with a vision to make Nigeria self-reliant in food production through improved crop productivity for farmers as well as for export. It has the capacity to produce 3 million tons of urea per annum. The minister was then taken to the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, 650,000 barrels of crude oil per day. Standing at about 75% completed, it will produce one of the best gasoline and diesel as well as jet A fuel and polypropylene. With world-class technology, it will meet the fuel requirements of Nigeria. At the end of the tour, Lai Mohammed bared his mind.
With the coming on stream of the Dangote Fertilizer Plant, Nigeria is now self-sufficient in the production of urea. In fact, Nigeria is now the leading producer of urea in Africa. The Dangote Fertilizer Plant is already exporting to the US, Brazil, India, Mexico, and Argentina. We were all fortunate today to witness a ship being loaded with urea for export to Argentina.
Stressing the point that the federal government's ability to create the enabling environment for investment and business to thrive, he called on wealthy Nigerians to invest in Nigeria like Dangote.
To be the underpinning philosophy of what I've seen here today. And I say it will take a few years for people to appreciate what people like Dangote is and has been to their country. And also, I'm sure posterity will be very kind to Muhammadu Buhari, because in 2-3 years' time, we'll have food security, we'll have energy security.
The executive director said the enabling environment for doing business under the present administration is responsible for the feat achieved so far.
As the Honorable Minister mentioned, he talked about the enabling environment for business. If that is not there, businesses cannot develop. It's a win-win situation for everybody.
75% of the products from this refinery will be ferried by sea. In Lagos, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria say Nigerians have no business going through untold hardship over the scarcity and high cost of diesel when artisanal refineries have capacity to make the product available at far less cost than what the nation spends on importation. As a way forward, they urge the federal government to immediately initiate an intersection of the conventional, artisanal and modular refineries in the country with proper regulatory framework. Lydia Sampson reports.
From 288 naira per litre in January 2022 to more than 700 naira per litre in April. That is the story of the hike in the price of diesel, which powers the nation's industries.
We are one of the people that are more affected because we cannot do our business without trucking, and trucking cannot go without diesel. Moreover, if you come to see that, to realize we have a problem of this diesel problem ever since, simply because we have an increment of diesel with over 1,000%.
The guests are emphatic that while the nation spends so much importing petroleum products, operators of artisanal refineries in Nigeria are making diesel available to neighboring countries at far less cost.
Now, what is the cost of diesel now? The presentation there
showed that the cost of diesel when they produce, he said that diesel, when they produce at that level and give, that it is 29 naira per liter. And the actual, the practitioners who were there said, look, it is not 29 naira, that it is 18 to 19 naira per liter. What we are paying 700 naira here.
Formalizing the informal petroleum sector is canvas as the way to go.
If we have these solutions sitting at home in front of us, and we're not able to add it to the mix in a way that's legitimate, it's slightly problematic. And so those are the areas that I think the industry needs to look at, particularly the regulators, to see how we can fold in some of these additional demands.
The government can avoid the question of crude theft, and if you allow them have this access, you will get the money paid to you, and so we will not be losing revenue. You'll not be losing crude.
The guests agree that the petrochemical solutions being sought abroad are right here in the country, and that the burden of high cost of diesel being inflicted on Nigerians is unwarranted. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
In the development of innovations as well as harnessing these developments in science and technology for national development, many of the social, economic and environmental challenges in the nation have to be put into consideration as the application of these new technologies becomes very important. This played out at this year's Science and Technology Expo recently held in Abuja. Justin Bemunyi reports.
Igbinosa Egosa, a PhD student of the Department of Production Engineering, University of Benin, who is head of the team that developed this vehicle, a utility truck, is optimistic that commercialization of his innovation will reshape the transport and agriculture sectors, translating to economic growth and prosperity for the country. Out of over 80% of locally sourced materials, this indigenous innovator fabricated this machine to meet the transport needs of basically farmers, as he puts into consideration durability, affordability, and ease of maintenance. The one-ton truck, as he calls it, had gone through a series of rigorous engineering and construction steps to finally win an award at the 2022 Technology and Innovation Expo as a need-driven innovation.
Actually, it's locally manufactured. All the parts, 80% of it are made here and in the workshop, and it can travel at a speed of 25 kilometers per hour, powered by 8.5 kilowatt engine, IC engine.
This is just one out of many need-oriented research findings at the Expo. Our attention was also drawn to another problem-solving technology that was researched into by the Shedder Science and Technology Complex, SHESCO. The Research Institute brought in a machine called an archer desanding machine, a machine that removes sand from archer grains.
We know that archer is one grain or seed that people are very much interested because those who are suffering from diabetics and that kind of a thing, they enjoy it, and it doesn't increase their sugar level, so they go for it. But many people run away from it because of the sand, and we've now found a method of removing the sand.
It's not just about fabricating or innovating, or you understand? The whole idea is to make it a household affair nationwide, and that will be the next step, actually.
Already, discussions are underway on the technology to be commercialized. As the Institute says, they are ready to transfer the technology to investors for commercialization for the benefit of Nigerians. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
The federal government has directed all telecommunication companies to bar all outgoing calls for telephone lines that have not complied with the NIN-SIM linkage policy from the 4th of April 2022. In a statement signed by Dr. Ikechukwu Adinde, Director of Public Affairs, NCC, and Kayode Adegoke, Head Corporate Communications, NIMSI, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Pantami, commended Nigerians and legal residents for their support during the exercise to link the national identification number to the subscriber identification model, noting that over 125 million SIMs have had their names submitted for immediate linkage, verification and authentication, and the National Identity Management Commission has issued over 78 million unique names till date. Meanwhile, subscribers of barred lines are advised to link their SIMs to their NINs before the telcos can lift the restrictions on their lines, as enrollment for NIN is a continuous exercise and NIN is a precondition for service in telcos, banks, Nigerian Immigration Service, and for the several other government services. It will be recalled that President Muhammadu Buhari gave the directive for the implementation and commencement of the exercise in December 2020 as part of the administration's security and social policy. The deadlines for the NIN-SIM linkage has been extended on multiple occasions to allow Nigerians freely comply with the policy. 70% of the Nigerian working population who are in the informal sector, experts say, have no plans to cushion the effects old age comes with without planning. The Conference of Civil Society of Nigeria, in collaboration with the Nigerian Pension Commission, has taken up the sensitization of Nigerians on the benefits of contributing for old age. Ikechukwu Ndukwe reports.
Old age is usually a time of reaping from one's bountiful harvest, but could be devastating when appropriate measures like savings are not there, making such people a burden to children and some uncaring relatives. The Conference of Civil Society of Nigeria is worried that over 70% of Nigerian working population in the informal sector may become victim if appropriate measures are not taken to get them enrolled into micro pension plan.
Micro pension scheme has to do with the well-being and welfare of upward of 68% of the population sector of the country who constitute the informal sector and the civil society. Therefore, if you make provision that secures their old age life and provides them a retirement earning, a retirement income, you would have catered for their well-being and welfare, and that will have very positive impact on national security.
When you are old, you are an artisan or you are a motorcyclist. When you are old and you cannot ride your cycle again, or when you are old and you cannot trade again, you have something to fall back to. And that's why the provision of 40 and 60% has been made. You have 40%, which is the contingent portion, which you can access after 3 months of your contribution, and you have 60% that is kept for you for retirement.
The micro pension plan is mainly designed for the informal sector because we want to see how they can cultivate the culture of savings. We want to see how they will have independence, secure autonomy when they are old.
Mrs. Omowume Obefemi from PENCOM office hinted that unlike the stories of complexities of the PENCOM out there, the PENCOM is flexible to the extent of making available 40% of enrollees' funds for withdrawal before retirement age. Ikechukwu Ndukwe, NTA News.
As the mood of the nation gradually wears that of politics, women participation is key, and this can be achieved through serious sensitization programs and leadership trainings. To this end, the JAW Women Connect is carrying out leadership skills program in Abuja. Mia Ogidi reports.
A meeting of women, inputs from men as well. It is the desire for the women folk to occupy leadership positions, but getting there, some essential skills needed, and that informs this gathering.
In any area of life where they find themselves as leaders, they will be able to put those skills that they have acquired today, being together, doing things together, and supporting one another is very important in order for us to forge ahead.
It is an annual gathering of the Ijaw Women Connect in Abuja. Informed opinions explain the imperatives needed for women to form a common front in the areas of politics and other aspects of life.
The whole idea of oneness is at the very root of our existence as human beings and lies at the very foundation of human society.
We must all pull in the same direction in order to arrive at the destination. Even if one person is not pulling, is not rowing in the right direction, what happens to the boat? It will either sink or it will capsize.
Now they are informed. Their contributions expected in the areas of sensitization and gunning for elective offices in 2023 general elections. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
All right, sports update is next. We're done. Thank you for your company, but we urge you not to relent in the fight against rape and rapists. Have a good evening. I'm Ruth Aguilera.